that much money, they have no carry, and they don't invest in their own funds. And you wonder why the ecosystem's fucked up? That's the reason, right? So you want to look at incentives and quality of people and be ruthless about it. And I think for the government here, watch out. Make sure your VCs are as good as the entrepreneurs.
Should we get some more questions?
Well, this is a follow-on question. It's more in the same vein. Before you were talking about visualizing billion-dollar companies, and now we're on the question of the local ecosystem. It's always been my perception that the institutional investors in Quebec had a strong bias towards job creation over company success. And I'd like to hear if you have an opinion on whether or not that's true, and if you do think it's true, whether or not you think that that has a realistically, can that change, or will there always be that bias?
There will always be that perspective because governments get elected when people have jobs, and when people don't have jobs, they get thrown out. And so they tell the people that work for them, please go get more jobs, and we'll give you some money to get more jobs, and I think it will forever be thus. I really have to say, though, the ecosystem and the intelligence that the Quebec government has about the environment here is way better than most. Way better than most. I actually think it's pretty good.
Well, and it came at a cost. I mean, billions of dollars have been invested in private equity and venture capital in Quebec, and it's completely shifted. And now most of the strategy is around Terralis, which funds private funds, and the seed programs that Real Ventures was a part of.
I have 11 individual investors in my fund. How many individual investors do you have in?
I think we're up to 40.
40. So the government monies that actually went in, they're basically following the lead, and I think that's what's important, and that's what differentiates with the problems that Europe has had, or even Quebec.
I might answer the question differently. Is that the thing that seems to be not as strong here, and we all need to collectively work on it, is tapping into the angel community, both here and south. So the Canadians that have gone south and made money, they should be investing in kick-ass startups here. But they won't know about the kick-ass startups here if we don't start talking to them and engaging with them, right?
So that's the big one. That's the big difference between our ecosystem and the others. Is we have people here that have made money, but they've made money in other sectors. And before they invest in the IT sectors and the high-tech sectors that we're involved in, they want to do that with other people that they can trust. And so I think having funds like iNovia, Row Canada, us in the market will help unlock a lot of that capital.
Are you starting to see a renewable energy project coming to you, and what are your thoughts?
Can you repeat that?
If we're seeing renewable energy projects, and what are our thoughts on that?
So we've seen a lot. We've made money on energy efficiency in the past. I think that the problem with renewable and clean tech generally is there's a king in Saudi Arabia who can decide whether or not your business makes sense or doesn't make sense. And it's in his interest to make sure your business doesn't make sense. And he's done it over and over and over again. So, and it costs tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to get into that business. So we've decided not to be in that business. I'm hoping that somebody can come out with cold fusion and make these problems go away, but I haven't seen it yet.
And we lost practically almost all of our money that we invested in those. I mean, that's why, a few years ago we took the decision of only investing in things that we actually understood enough, not understand enough in order to get into trouble, but also get out of trouble. So sadly, I mean, there's many sectors that we got out. That's one of them.
So a lot of clean tech are either science projects or the capital efficiency makes them almost ill-adapted to venture. I think, however, there are some massive opportunities. So Kleiner, when they bet the house on clean tech, before they now bet the house on Mary Meeker and all the great women of tech, they funded some companies that are trying, for example, to build alternatives to the carbon chain in terms of energy creation. To the fossil fuel chain. I mean, these are awesome opportunities, but they take $600–700 million, $1 billion to do. It is very difficult. I don't think any of us are in a position to even support that. So we're almost like the wrong vehicle for these things to make sense.
And if you ask John Doerr, he would say it was a massive mistake and they're going to lose their shirt, right? They're going to completely lose their shirt.
Any other questions?
So what do we want from entrepreneurs when they approach us?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give a very short answer. I'll default to AngelList. You know, show me. This is my bias, right? But show me social proof. So you're in the cat business. John Herstick is interested in investing in you. Great. Show me some form of product or traction that I can understand. And if you have a complex product, show me that you're a good engineer, but you've actually gone out of your zone of comfort, you've understood very deeply the needs of the market that you're attracting. So either traction, or show me you understand your market deeply, and show me great people. And you know, great people, think about it twice, right? Because there's another thing you can't shift out usually besides your VCs, your co-founder. So don't go work with dunces. You know, keep the bar high. You know, look far and wide and make sure you get good people. And for me, that's plenty. To come. And then team technology traction, if you're great on team, you don't need tech. If you're average on team, you need better tech and maybe more traction. You can kind of optimize the triangle over time, right? And it's different for every
So
company.
Fred, just for the benefit of the crowd, because that word gets used a lot, like what do you mean by traction? Like what does that mean?
Well, again, traction is different for every business.
Yeah, so consumer business versus a business to business.
There is, I'll say, go and have a look at Dave McClure. You've heard of Dave McClure, right? He's a pretty vocal guy. He tends to hang around conferences. So if you're in a consumer business, you go see his Pirate metrics. If you're a B2B business, I don't really care about traction, but show me you've co-designed with partners, and you actually may not even have a product, but you've co-designed features with clients who are willing to espouse your roadmap. You know, all that stuff that shows that you've understood your target market deeply matters to me. And if you're an engineer and you're building a quick product, you're pushing yourself outside of your zone of comfort to get market feedback, and that's beautiful because now you might be a MapReduce guru, but you've actually forced yourself to go and talk to your users and understand what they want to do.
I think that's a great summary, and I'm not going to comment on that. I'm going to change gears slightly. Let's do a show of hands again. How many people here are entrepreneurs, either working on a project or thinking about working on a project? Okay, excellent. So this goes to the ecosystem. So following up on Chris's comment, the accelerator programs and the boot camps and the code camps and the foo bars and stuff like that are really good at getting entrepreneurs together, and then among you and between you, you learn much more from each other by example, by shared experience, and as much as you might learn from a mentor. So number one, to build your own ecosystem, I encourage that. So having those sorts of activities. And these three firms are ideal for sponsoring those types of things. In addition to that, what I've seen in the Valley that's been pretty successful is, because sometimes you want to be an entrepreneur or you want to get involved in a startup, but you don't have your own idea, or you have your own idea and then you're looking for like-minded folks that have the same sort of vision and want to attack the same problem. So what they do is they do like a hookup night. So but it's a little bit more formal than that, because they'll spend the first 20 minutes, the guy says, okay, I got an idea, and he'll go up front and he'll explain his idea. And then anybody that has a passion about this or wants to join me, meet me in 10 minutes, and then we'll form a little group, and then we'll work on it for a month or two. I mean, these hookup nights can be incredibly powerful, and it looks like you've got the basis for that right here. So I think it's a way to go.
I just want to pick up on one thing Fred said, which I really strongly agree with. Surprise you? That's good. No, but so I've between angel investing and institutional investing, I've probably invested in like 30 companies, literally coast to coast in Canada. And one of the things that Fred said, just to bring it home, a lot of entrepreneurs say, I'm going to be the best in this space, and it's just too many of them don't know what this space is. I mean, it's like saying I'm the mayor of Montreal, but I don't know René Lévesque, and don't even know who René Lévesque is. And too often, like, you get 3 or 4 questions in, and it's like, you don't know who your competitors are. You don't know about these 3 other startups that are doing something similar. So one of the most important things I think that entrepreneurs miss, because I think they're great about their product, they're passionate about pulling really great people together and work together. The one thing I see missed a lot is just not knowing your space as deeply as you should. So that's one thing to think about.
There's a funny quote from Mika Salmi. He was the founder of iFilm. He was backed by Moritz. And he told me about 3 weeks ago, he said, "It is amazing how many people who know absolutely fuck all about the music industry think they can disrupt it."
Yeah. So any other questions for the panel? No? All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.